Hello, my name is Jeff, and this is a 2008 Porsche 911 Carrera, also known as a 997 or 6th generation Porsche 911. This one happens to be a one-owner example with just over 5,000 original miles and is equipped with the 6-speed manual transmission. And it's for sale. It's heading up for auction on Bring a Trailer, where it will be selling with no reserve as offered from Cascio Motors. And in this video, I'll take you through the exterior, the interior, the powertrain, and of course, we'll take it for a drive. Moving on, here is the key to this 997 Porsche 911. Buttons on the front, Porsche crest on the back. Fixed key goes in the left-hand side Le Mans style ignition, just like other 911s. Moving on to the car itself, the 997 to me is a really interesting car. I would like to view it as a return to form. You see, the styling is more traditional rather than the 996 before it. Instead, you might compare the styling as more so reminiscent of the 993. That's the car that predates the 996. On top of that, the overall form factor and size of the car is relatively compact, but still big enough to make the car practical, having actual back seats and even the frunk for storage, which still makes it bigger than a Miata, but smaller than a lot of the cars you'll find on sale today and a lot of new cars at dealerships. And that's one of the reasons that I think these cars are quite special. More traditional classic styling, but still very small, lighter, and sportier than a lot of the new cars, which makes them great. And this one, with just over 5,000 miles, is practically a new 997 in itself. This car also has some options. It's finished in black. Note the fun Porsche crest there on the front. And we even feature the bi-xenon headlights up front. Lots of intakes for cooling. Everything has a purpose on this car, as Porsche is an engineering-focused company. And if we go ahead and pop the frunk here, this is going to serve as your external storage, if anything that you can't put in the back seats or the back shelf. And you can see here it is fairly sizable, a Porsche 10 with a variety of different information. Some of your DVD and navigation systems will also be accessed through the front here. We'll go ahead and set this back down. Very lightweight. I believe this is made of aluminum. As we continue moving down, you can see the chrome headlight washers on the front. And the side here, we have some more options. Standard would be 18-inch wheels, but this particular car has the Carrera Classic 19-inch wheels, which it was optioned with, and it features the Porsche colored center caps, which is a very cool addition. You'll also note that these wheels are in fact a staggered fitment. The rears are considerably wider to help put down that power, and they're wrapped in brand new Michelin Pilot Sport 4S tires. You can even feature all of the little whiskers on the side of the tires, which helps to let you know just how new these tires are. You can also see the very aggressive brake fitment under there. We actually have 4-piston calipers front and rear, larger disc brakes in the front. They also feature ventilated disc brakes front and rear, stabilizer bars front and rear. And what we have suspension-wise is we have a McPherson strut assembly in the front with a multi-link setup in the rear. So sporting intentions, built to go fast. Over here, we have the gas cap for our 16.9-gallon fuel tank. We have our power mirrors. Of course, we have our door handles as well. And we can take a look at the roof to see we actually have the opening roof here if you want some wind through the top. Again, classic Porsche 911 rear styling. And if we come around to the back, we can see there's several panels on top. Now, obviously, the motor's located back here, but up top here, we also have the speed-activated spoiler, which can be manually raised or lowered using a button on the inside. But of course, as the name implies, will also be activated via what speed you're going. Nice Porsche script there in the rear window, third brake light Carrera badging, a dual exhaust, and sharp 997 taillights. Power comes from a rear-mounted, naturally aspirated, water-cooled alloy 3.6-liter flat six with a dry sump lubrication system, which Porsche rates at 325 horsepower and 273 pound-feet of torque, which for this car is paired with a 6-speed manual transmission with a dual-mass flywheel, sending power to the rear wheels. Period magazines quote the car as weighing less than 3,100 pounds with a 0 to 60 time of 4.8 seconds and a top speed of 177 miles per hour. This particular car, which features just over 5,000 original miles on its original powertrain, benefits from a recent service in August of 2024 by Porsche of Charleston, where they replaced and flushed all of the fluids and filters, in addition to replacing the spark plugs and batteries, and even the brand new tires, so that the powertrain is just as new and in perfect condition as the rest of the car. on to the interior, if we open it up, this particular car features a black leather interior that also features an Alcantara headliner. One of my favorite features about the 911, if we go ahead and move these seat forwards, is actually the back seat. And this car even features a storage shelf behind those back seats. Now, while you could try to fit smaller people in the back, I think their best use makes the 911 a daily driver or a car that you could easily road trip, with plenty of room for bags in the back seats, the back storage shelf, and anything that doesn't fit there can go in the front frunk, which has plenty of room as well. Now, getting back into the front features, this car features plenty of options just like the rest of the car. Most notably, we have the powered seats here, which do feature memory settings over here on the door. We have the optional Bose sound system, which is a wonderful added upgrade. We get power windows, power mirrors. This car has even been optioned with cruise control, so we have the extra tabs on there as well. Taking a look at these leather seats, they are very nicely bolstered here on the sides and even in the legs, but are still incredibly comfortable. And you might have noticed that these are even perforated. That is because these seats are also heated, which is a nice luxury to have. Now let's go ahead and climb in the car here. We do have that Carrera door sill with our various buttons to open and close the other compartments. We take our key. We have a left-hand Lamar style ignition in this particular car. Clutch in because it's a 6-speed manual. And the car roars to life. You saw there that the actual Porsche badge came up on the screen here, as this car has a original interior on the inside, just like the rest of the car, with just 5,000 miles on it. So you can see even the passenger seat is in phenomenal condition. The passenger has their own power mirror controls in addition to everything you'll find on the driver's side. We have a 3-spoke steering wheel wrapped in leather, which frames our tachometer front and center in typical 911 fashion. It revs to 7,000 RPM. You can see the other gauges on the side here, your speedo and your odo, and on the right side we have all of our temperature, including our fuel gauges and other information. To the left, you'll find our lighting controls in that ignition, and to the right here, we have a fairly simple system, but this is the full climate control system and Porsche's original system, which can of course be adjusted. Currently it's on the main screen, but as you may have noticed, there's lots of other buttons here, including some of your phone controls, hazards, and you could even control the audio. So if you wanted to, for example, you could change the actual bass on this car and adjust it as you please for that Bose sound system, in addition to all the other info, trip, navigation, map settings that are all easily available through this screen, which is nice that it's not overwhelming in this car. Below that, we have a lot of the controls here, which are all, again, physical, including our heated seats, which have 2 different settings. We have all of our climate controls below, which have lots of adjustments that you can use for fan speed and things like that, including temperature. We have the buttons below for the spoiler in the back, the Porsche stability management. Below that, we have the shifter for our 6-speed manual transmission, which of course is always welcomed in any 911. Behind that, we have a real handbrake here, no electronic handbrake. And then that's it. That's pretty much a quick look at this car. It's pretty simple in the best way. You do have the controls for the sunroof, that Alcantara. You can see some of the various garage controls or gate controls, self-dimming mirrors, and even here we have a light-up mirror for the main sunlights. So that's a pretty nice display. It's pretty simple in this car, but it has everything you need and nothing you don't. And of course, first and foremost, is a driver-centric car. I mean, it doesn't take an expert to tell you that Porsches drive well. I mean, the shifter just goes right into position pretty easily and makes it quite comfortable to drive. Pretty easy to drive too, even if you're not the greatest at driving manual transmissions. It'll be pretty easy to drive in this car. The steering is quite nice too. It's not overly intensive, but it's still easy to drive. But it feels very precise, like you can point the nose exactly where you want the car to go, and then it just goes. Plenty of power too. This thing accelerates very easily. Not to mention flat 6 noise. So it sounds great while you're driving it, and the car, thanks to its recent services and some of the extra effort that's been put into it, not to mention the low mileage, means this car drives absolutely incredible. Porsche steering. It's quite quiet on the inside as well. The seats are pretty comfortable. The buckets hold you in place. This car is not so modern that you're plagued by having screens everywhere in the interior to distract you while you're driving. Instead, it's quite a simple infotainment system with nice big analog gauges, including a big tachometer that's set in front of you first and foremost. So that is a quick look at this 2008 Porsche 911, a one-owner example with just over 5,000 original miles, equipped with the enthusiast transmission of choice, a 6-speed manual. Now this car is a special car to me. The 997 signified a return to form styling-wise, and it retained a relatively compact form factor, much smaller than a lot of the cars that are now on the roads or sold new today. And this car is even for sale, so it's heading up for auction on Bring a Trailer, where it will be selling with no reserve as offered from Cascio Motors. So if you wanted to pick up an example of the 997, this is your opportunity. And in fact, this one's basically a new car and recently serviced. But that's also the end of the video. If you enjoyed it and could leave me a thumbs up, I'd really appreciate it. And consider getting subscribed for more content like this in the future. With that, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.